This man right next to me hosts the show called Sprewell Was Right. Don't subscribe to it, though. It's on YouTube. It kicks ass. Gives you authentic coverage of the Golden State Warriors. Live broadcasting during games sometimes. But don't subscribe to it, right? Armando, you don't want more subscribers. Stay the F away. Because like the graphic behind him shows, Sprewell Was Right is venomous.
Oh, yeah. Venomino. It's crazy, man. We just talk shit. Maybe we'll start talking shit about the Hawks soon. It'll be fun. Who's next? Who's next? Because the Warriors are dead. It's like beating a dead horse, man. Who's next, Si? That's what I
want. Yeah, they're floundering. Well, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, Joe Lacob, I feel like it would be disingenuous to say he spoke to the press. He spoke to one of his employees, who then published the quotes that Joe wanted published. And we'll talk about what those quotes were. But yes, Joe Lacob technically did speak and expressed some feelings and opinions about the current state of the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about that. Got an email about Latrell Sprewell, the man who inspired the name of your show, Sprewell Was Right, Armando, sharing with us a story I did not know happened. This was about 30 years ago. It involves Latrell Sprewell and a former power forward named Jerome Kersey, who, like every other player who signs with the Warriors, was past his prime at the tail end of his career. So naturally, they came to Golden State. But in this case, some drama ensued. Again, I never knew about the story that we're going to revisit going back in time. We'll hit up the mailbag. Hopefully have some fun. It's Friday. You ready, brother?
I'm ready, man. Porzingis. Talk Porzingis, too.
Yeah, and no Tingus Pingus today. We'll keep it straight. I'll call him Kristaps Porzingis. We're powered by FanDuel, and the program is called The Golden Days. Sprewell Was Right edition. Oh, you folks didn't expect this to be open, did you? Let's go. Yeah, I made it open a little longer there. It only took me like 3 months past when I said I was going to do it. Better late than never. You could follow the professor, Armando Lara, host of Sprewell Was Right, tenured sociology professor at UC Berkeley. He's on Threads at Mando_man10 and on Twitter at Armando Lara M. M as in Mary. It's not N as in Nancy. It's M as in Mary. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild, over on Twitter at Surf Journalist, the program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. And really quickly, speaking of FanDuel, our official sponsor, no line currently for the Warriors and Nuggets on Sunday. But Armando, I was amused when I went to FanDuel's NBA page because they revised the line for regular season win totals when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. And for the first time all year, there is some stability with the Warriors in terms of roster. You no longer are wondering, is Kaminga going to get traded? Which constantly put the bookies at FanDuel in flummox, because they did not know how to predict this team. The predictability markets were wild and all over the place. But it seems to have settled finally, and the OU right now is 41.5, which means with the Warriors being at 29-27 on the season, 26 games to play, if the Warriors finish out these final 26 games 13-13, the over will hit.
Wow.
If they go below 500, the under will hit. It's that simple. So I turn to you, Armando. With 26 games left in the Golden State Warriors season, will the Warriors finish 500 or better, thus hitting the over, or do you think it's going to be a below 500 run for the rest of the year, thus the under? Your thoughts?
I would say under. They'll finish under 500 the rest of the season.
So the under. So the under overall will hit.
Yeah. They'll probably, the prediction at the beginning of the season was 500 basketball.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. So we'll stick to that.
Yeah. Look, we are a business operation, and when folks drop some ducats in the paid chat, in this case, OMG, it's Manny, longtime Golden Days, are joining us from Orlando, Florida. He has a sorry to be morbid here, but a potential dying wish to Warriors owner Joe Lacob to trade and or get rid of Brandon Podziemski. The man, his health is sussy. He wants Pods gone. I don't think he's asking for much, right? I mean, what, Armando, of all the things you could ask for in life, to simply just want one mediocre basketball player to not be on your team anymore, that ain't a big ask. I don't think. Do you?
Yeah, it's a huge ask for this management. I mean, they kept this guy on the roster for 3-4 years, even though he's playing 35 minutes as small forward and taking minutes from Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga. So, I mean, that might require an entire regime change to do something different. It might be a hard ask. They're the team that signed Al Horford to a 2-year deal, $5 million to get out of retirement. You know, like, it's a hard ask. I don't know who we're dealing with here. It's bad.
I don't know either.
It's dark.
Manny actually did not bring up Podziemski for his $199 paid chat. He simply wanted me to play this soundbite. Pingus! Armando, it'll be the only time I play it on the show today, but when people pay, I have to give the people what they want, and especially a paying customer. So OMG, it's Manny, Tingus Pingus. Your wish is granted. And with that said, speaking of Tingus Pingus, I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, forgive me. He made his debut for the Golden State Warriors last night. It was a mixed bag. I feel like the first half, I think he's made his debut at the beginning of the second quarter. And when he came into the game, I think the Warriors trailed by only 4. And then by the end of the second quarter, they were trailing, I believe, by 23 at the end of the first half. Now, he did make up for some of the poor play in the fourth quarter, particularly, but it was a blowout loss, mixed bag. His final stat line, one more time, in case you forgot, Kristaps Porzingis played 17 minutes, 15 seconds, 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block, was 2 of 5 from deep, 5 of 9 from the field overall. What was your impression of Kristaps Porzingis's debut?
In the Lacob interview, he said Porzingis looked bad in the first half, but he looked better in the second half. And I think that's kind of the main takeaway I'm getting from Warriors delusionals. And, the Warriors delusionals, like, they have no sense of what the other team is doing at any time. They're just, like, looking at the ball, basically. And, they really don't perceive the other team. And basically what happened in the game, like, the Celtics were up 30, and half-assed the rest of the game.
34.
Subbed out all their main guys. Like, they reluctantly had to put in Jaylen Brown just to, like, bring it home. And Porzingis can't move, Cy. He can't move. And they were playing zone out there with him. And the thing you got to focus on him is his 3-point closeouts. It is pump fake and just walk around him. That's what it is. Pump fake and walk around him. Nobody's scared of that guy on D. They're just gonna go at him. And it's like he can't move at an NBA level. Like, there's a reason he's only playing 20 minutes a game for the rest of the year. And one thing that the Warriors don't want to one little tidbit they don't want you to remember, and everybody is like evidence that Porzingis is a winning player because his the big Celtics run, he's a champion on the Celtics. Do you know how many games he played on the Celtics playoff run?
I have not looked it up lately, and I've completely forgotten how many.
Yeah. He played 7 games in that playoff series. And
you mean the whole postseason?
The whole postseason.
He only played 7 games that whole that was a very easy run for the Celtics. So I hear what you're saying. They didn't need him, basically.
And
yeah,
3 of those games were in the finals against a Luka team that wasn't really that good. And everybody remembers the one game 1, where he played well. It's like, oh, Porzingis is back, and then he just got hurt in that game. Like, they didn't need him. He wasn't a guy that can play at that high level. Like, he might give you some 3-point shooting on offense, but I've seen him miss a lot of big shots on the Mavericks. The thing is that I noticed last night is Quentin Post didn't play at all. So to me, the way the coach is thinking about it is he's just it's not, is it really an improvement over Quentin Post? Like it's just an exchange for those minutes, Cy. Like they're already a loser team with Quentin Post, right? They're not going to like have an improvement over that. So it's not additive to the team the way that they're selling it to you. You know, that's,
I mean, consider when you factor in how much each player makes, I'd say it's a draw. But if they were making even salary, I would give Kristaps Porzingis a considerable edge, mostly because of experience, slightly because of size. But you're right. Quentin Post, who was starting games for the Warriors earlier this season, is persona non grata now. He is he's DNP Central. Nice knowing you. What I explained to a barber who's in our chat regularly, and he came on the show last night. The man loves Steve Kerr. It's a tough sell. All the Kerr criticism on this program. I respect that he engages with me. It makes for more entertaining content, a different perspective. And the compromise I came to with him is let's see how Porzingis looks Sunday. That's when the Warriors next play. They host the Denver Nuggets. And there is no line for that game yet. Side note with FanDuel. I'll take a look at the injury report in just a moment. But I want to see how Porzingis handles that situation. And if Porzingis looks competent, and if the Warriors have a fighting chance coming out of that game with Porzingis playing a role in that, all right, I'll keep an open mind. I think that's where I'm at in terms of Kristaps Porzingis and what to expect this year. What are your thoughts on waiting and seeing how he looks against tougher opponents like the Nuggets, teams who have these elite centers that in the past gave the Warriors a shitload of issues, largely because the team just didn't have anybody to combat that with, and now they do. Are you going to approach this with a slightly open mind, or are you already sold on no to Kristaps?
Sorry, what are we doing here?
This
team is toast. Like,
I know.
What are we doing here? Like, they've literally told you that they're just trying to have excitement. That's what I got from the Lacob interview. They're just trying to have excitement for the fans that bought season tickets. They're trying to make sure those fans re-up the season tickets next year. This is just Steve Kerr, Steph Curry vibe era. Like they're not like winning anything. Like what do we mean by it working? You know, like
Armando, here's what I'm trying to do real quick. I'm trying, and it's partly an act. I'm not gonna lie, it's partly an act. I'm trying to play the part of the mainstream broadcaster. I'm trying to play the part of the person who's trying to make everybody happy. Because look, I think if you're a longtime audience member of this program, you know very well how I feel. I'm just trying to be optimistic, I guess, and not be 100% doom and gloom. Because look, ultimately, you're right. This is a hopeless situation. They're going nowhere. And here's the other part of it too. There is like a 1% chance. I'll give the Warriors a 1% chance. One. Those aren't good odds, but I'll give them 1% that they could actually pull a rabbit out of the hat this year and make some noise this postseason. But I'm also 99% certain that ain't going to happen, and they're going to get bounced as the 10 seed in the play-in, just like they were 2 years ago in 2024 when they were the 10 seed as well. And
I think they just got Porzingis because he's an expiring deal. There's no long-term salary commitment, and it gives Steph a chance, like you said. What is it, the 1%? You know, they could easily like get lucky in the play-in and make round one, and then he'll get to play meaningful playoff basketball. Maybe they'll win 1 or 2 games, and then Steve Kerr can go in the media afterwards and say, see, insinuate he's a good coach, and that if only Jimmy Butler had remained healthy, they really would have made a deep playoff run. And I'm not making that up because
I know.
That's what he sold last year about last year's playoffs.
Oh, I know.
And you know, like it's like Fitz Buki propaganda, Cy. Like, you know, the Warriors are getting blown out by 30. The Celtics are just chucking threes. It's a freaking layup line when Podziemski gets subbed in. Porzingis looks good, but they're down by 30, and the Warriors side. It's so bad that the Warriors are the trap game now. That's why
they are in that position. Yes,
that's why the Phoenix Suns beat them, or that's why they beat the Phoenix Suns a couple weeks ago or last week, and they didn't go 2-8 as I predicted in February.
They also didn't. The Suns also didn't have Devin Booker that last game. Only their best player. Worth adding as well. For whatever reason, the Warriors and this have been. Let me rephrase that. The Suns have been a pretty good matchup for the Warriors this year. But with that said, that last game, Devin Booker being out, I think played a big part too.
The Celtics have superior coaching to the Steve Kerr system. That was pretty evident. And the Warriors were. It's like Vucevic and Peyton Pritchard. They looked all NBA against Porzingis Pods. Pod's nickname should be personal best. It should Pods Brandon Career Night Podziemski should be the ironic nickname. Someone needs to add up how many career nights have been by opposing guards. What's the record for career nights by opposing guards during the last 4 seasons? It would blow my mind that if that's not against the Warriors and Brandon Podziemski, it is so bad. It's just a green light. This team had Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kaminga, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green, and they played maybe 2 minutes together. They had that lineup, and they didn't play at all. And we're supposed to be told that this team is light years. I don't think so, man.
And that needs to be repeated, by the way. Real quick, Armando, that needs to be repeated. What you just said, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, that the 5-man lineup of Steph, Dre, Jimmy, Kaminga, and Moody, which on paper, a lot of folks, myself included, I believe yourself included as well, thought were the 5 best players on this team. They did not play a single possession together. And there's only one person responsible for that. The guy that I do like to criticize routinely. Well, I don't like it, but I feel like I'm forced to, because who else is going to do it, A? And B, if you don't do it, how can you be genuine in your analysis? It's the man in control is abusing the power is what I'm trying to say. Case in point, he never once played the 5 best players together. Not one time. Yeah. That's insane to me.
Yeah, so this season is the go home in a body bag program 4.0. They got injured in exactly the way I predicted, at exactly the time I predicted. And this was in the summer. And it's an effing joke for them to walk around saying, if only Jimmy Butler hadn't gotten injured. Playing the 3-4 guards, playing Jimmy Butler at power forward, relying on his foul grifting where he lets guys undercut him. He got injured the exact same way 2 years in a row. And, Steph Curry's knee, 30, he's going to be 39 at the end of next year.
Correct.
And, to think that, this setup, which is G Leaguers plus 40-year-olds, is going to somehow make a title run they're going to make noise in the playoffs. They have G Leaguers and 40-year-olds. That's the roster construction that they're selling you. And people in the chat believe in it. They don't see what's really going. They can't zoom out. And I truly, truly believe it's because a lot of these fans have only come in as Steph Curry fans, and they don't know how to root for this team without Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So Steph Curry's still a top 10 guy. We need to keep going for it at all costs.
Bandwagoners. Absolutely, Armando.
There's more to life. There's more to NBA basketball than Steph Curry. Stars come and go, man. It is what it is.
Well, we had an audience member on the show last night who said one of the other Warriors streamers said on one of his live shows that he's just going to quit covering the Warriors when Steph's done. And granted, this guy was a Kings fan until 2013. This is the Warriors dynasty brought with it a shitload of bandwagoners, and you're going to see a lot of those folks vanish when Steph retires. And the comments today by Joe Lacob, or at least the comments that were published today, this courtesy of the San Francisco Standard, Tim Kawakami a mouthpiece for the Golden State Warriors. That's where he's at now, still making a ridiculous amount of money for the SF Standard. Side note, Standard. I mean, if you consider that money well spent, I've got a bridge to sell you. I really do. I'm not making that up. It's in my backyard, and it costs about $500,000, but it's for sale, and I'm going to guess you folks are interested. We'll touch on those comments in a bit because there was a lot of weird messaging in there, some mixed messaging that just didn't make sense. I left reading that interview with way more questions than new answers, and we'll cover some of the important things that were said in that. But for the Warriors and Nuggets Sunday, the Warriors currently have not published an injury report, so we don't know if anyone besides Stephen Curry and Seth, the Curry brothers, I don't know if anyone else besides those two and Jimmy Butler will be on it. The Nuggets, it's just the obvious. It's Aaron Gordon, who's still out with the hamstring strain, and then Peyton Watson, I think, has been dealing with a leg injury as well. Everyone else should be ready to go for the Nuggets. No line for that game yet. Denver is playing tonight. They're in Portland taking on the Trailblazers, a game that has some significance for the Warriors given the standings. Show that the Warriors currently are just a game above the Clippers in the loss column, and they're just 2 games ahead of the Portland Trailblazers in the loss column. So you want Denver to win if that's what your focus is. And if you're thinking about the draft this coming summer, maybe you want Portland to win. I don't know. But real quickly here, before we cover that Joe Lacob interview, Armando, there was a game last night which really just drew my ire when I saw the box score and saw the result. And it just really peeved me because I feel like that was an example of a team doing things the right way. It's how you handle it when you have to move on from somebody. And then you see the Warriors doing it the totally wrong way. And I'm referring to the LA Clippers, who beat the Nuggets last night in LA. And they made a trade recently where they acquired this kid from the Indiana Pacers. I'm still trying to understand like what went wrong there, why Indiana felt the need to not only not give this kid consistent minutes. There have been comparisons in the past from some folks of Benedict Mathurin and the Pacers to Kaminga and the Warriors when JK was still here. So the Pacers trade Benedict Mathurin as part of that deal to get a Zubac, and they send these 2 first-round picks back to LA. One of those first-round picks has odd protections in the upcoming draft, where if it falls from 5 to 9, the Clippers get it. If it's 1 through 4 or 6 or 10 and above, then the pick becomes unprotected in 2031. But they also slid in Benedict Mathurin in this deal, and initially it was listed as a side note. But then you see his debut last night. Dude drops 38 points. The Clippers beat the Nuggets. And the moment you see Mathurin playing, where he's got this big role, where he's got the faith of the coaching staff and the team. The guy is just, it shocks me that we had to wait until now to finally see what this kid's made of. But I'm watching that. I'm seeing the Clippers. Benedict Mathurin just drops 38 in his debut. Darius Garland, another younger piece who's going to make his debut soon. The Clippers are not going to miss a beat. I'm incredibly confident that the Clippers are going to surpass the Warriors. The Portland Trailblazers, to me, are the only question mark. Like I think the Warriors will finish 9 or 10 when all said and done in the standings, just because the Clippers are too good. And you've got Kawhi Leonard playing like a madman. My point is, on one hand, with the Clippers, you've got all this promise and hope and things to get excited about. And then you go to the Warriors, and it's like, hey, we're giving Brandon Podziemski the most minutes. Like, are you serious? Hey, we just acquired Kristaps Porzingis.
Fuck you.
I don't know what else to say, dude. This is some depressing shit. If anything, like, you see the direction of these two franchises, and the Clippers are moving in the right direction. I don't even know what direction the Warriors are going. I mean, are they standing pat with mediocrity? Because it doesn't sound like they want to tank, even if, I don't know if you'd admit that, but I mean, based on actions, unless playing Podziemski is the tank, in which case suddenly I'm gonna have to change my tune. But I don't think I think Steve Kerr actually believes in this kid. I think he plays him because he thinks he's actually good. It's just pure madness. So I'm a little frustrated right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the Clippers are definitely going to surpass the Warriors. Like Kawhi is balling, man. Like they look
Yes, he is.
good, and that's a great point about their trades they made. You know, and honestly, if they are light years like they claim to be, and you know, unlike these delusional fans, you know, like they'll actually try to lose the play. Like they can't fall to 11th, but if they lose the play-in side, like they could actually have lottery odds. And you know,
Correct.
like they could actually be the 12th worst team if they lose and lose that play-in, and that would give them a 1.5% chance at the top pick, a 1.7% chance at the second pick, 1.9% chance at the third, and a 2.1% chance at the fourth pick. And you know, honestly, even if they get the 14th pick from losing in the play-in, like that's an asset, right? Like
Agreed.
if you're actually trying to win next year, which I don't know why you would be, but if you're delusional enough to think there's a point to it, you know, like you could use that side to package with a Jimmy Butler. You could use that to package with a Porzingis contract to try to get another player. So I don't know why like they're doing this. I don't know if it's for revenue. You'll see. We'll know if they're light years or sub light years. If they're light years or they're just, you know, like literally going backwards on impulse drive. If at the 10-game mark, we learn that Steph Curry is if he's going to come back with 10 games to go, or if he's going to sit out, because that 10 games left in the season has always been, you know, the marker for Draymond and Steph. Like I don't know if you remember the year before they won the title. I think with 10 games left, they went 8-2 or something like that, and they lost in the play-in. But that was like evidence that they could do well. And it's always like 10-game ramp up. So if he comes back with 10 games and they're just trying to make a run for it, I don't really see this team as being light years. Like they're not playing the asset game because you know, if they do manage to lose that play-in, there's no way they're getting out of the play-in. Then they can actually get those that asset and they can make a move in the offseason. I think that's the way it needs to go. They can't be that stupid to try to risk getting Steph injured, going for 35, 40 points a game. Is Steph really going to play 82 games, even if they get Giannis somehow in the offseason? Is he really going to play 4 rounds of playoffs as a 35-point a game scorer? Like, that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture. Like, is this a team?
Well, I was going to say real quick, speaking of bigger picture, Sven Kamenity, great handle, by the way, in our chat, saying tanking is for losers. Why the F would you watch sports if you don't want your team to win? That's for weirdos. And then Sven, again, great handle, but I would push back and say what's weird is not thinking big picture, right? Like if every game to you is you're going to treat it like a Super Bowl, in a lot of ways, I defer to the old adage, ignorance is bliss, meaning you're just strictly living in the moment and are just completely pulling the shutters on any thoughts about the next game, next season. Respect. I wish I could simplify things with my thought process that way. I can't, unfortunately. And look, if you're talking about team success, which involves postseason success, you need talent, and the best way for the Warriors to get talent is to get a good draft pick, and to do that, you tank. That's why so many teams are tanking. Sven, Armando, I apologize for cutting you off a moment ago there. I just wanted to get to that real fast. And anything you want to add to Sven, because there are a good chunk of fans who have this attitude, like all they care about is the next win, even though there are 82 regular season games. And a lot of them do ultimately come out as utterly meaningless.
Yeah, I have no doubt that people like this are going to completely tune out when Steph Curry retires and the team is bad for 8-10 years. The thing that when you compare to the Clippers, the optimism I have over the Warriors, they're in a better position than the Clippers because they actually didn't trade all their draft picks. Like that's the thing that is really positive about. And Dunleavy even said this when he addressed the media after the Kaminga trade. He said, we haven't gone all in with our picks. We have a lot of picks to move. And they're right. They're totally right. And if it's possible to get off the coach, maybe they could actually draft those picks and develop athletic NBA 2026 players, and not guys that just like hustle and look like they're smart or something, even though they're not smart. And like I'm optimistic about that front, that they didn't totally cash in on supporting the Steph Curry, Steve Kerr vibe era. They haven't totally cashed in on that. They're just giving it this 1 year shot. This was the last year. I would hazard a guess. Yeah.
Yeah, until we get to the off season and then they tell us next year is the last year. We'll find out. But again, Joe Lacob spoke to Tim Kawakami, who's become a mouthpiece for the Golden State Warriors. And here are some of the quotes that we took away from the story that I guess is worthy of discussion. Lacob touched on quite a few topics, and we'll start with this one here, where Lacob said, quote, "Some of our fans, I'm sure, I hear it all the time, would love us to, whatever you want to call it, lose for a better draft position because they assume we're not going to win this year." Not hard. Everyone assumes a lot about. Oh, no. We'll get to that in just a second. But this quote going back here, this was in reference to tanking. And what Lacob followed up with is that the team has no intention of tanking. The team is going to go for it. He likes the team's potential. He mentioned in the interview that he likes Kristaps Porzingis. He's wanted him for a long time. He joked in the interview that he's been apparently bugging Mike Dunleavy Jr. for a long time about the team getting a big. And again, he's just saying it in jest, like just trying to lighten it up. Because he added, quote, Mike Dunleavy and the guys always laugh because I'm always yelling for more size, and we finally got it. He's 7'3", so I'm happy with that. We got 2 real 7-footers on the team right now. I like what I saw. Let's get him ready. Get him back to playing. Get his timing back and get used to our players. I think it's encouraging. So that's what Joe Lacob said about Porzingis, about tanking. And one impression I got from this interview is the Joe Lacob who once aggressively, with a cocky attitude, told the world that they're light years ahead, that a man who just wants championships. I don't know if he's that guy anymore, Armando. I'm getting a sense now, and I hope I'm wrong on this, man. This is just me just telling you how I feel about shit. But I'm getting the sense that Joe is at a point where he's just content. I hate this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, like they're just selling tickets. Later on in that interview, he says we got to make sure the season ticket holders are happy and that they re-up for next year. That's why they're not tanking. They're not tanking because of any moral commitment like there's in the chat about just trying to win. We're winning. We're just winning. Like, no, you're losing. You're actually losing. You're a loser team. You've been a loser team for 4 years. And, like they're not, it's a dereliction of duty. It really is a dereliction of duty. And there's people in the chat that think a starting 5 of Porzingis, Al Horford, Draymond, and Steph and Podziemski is somehow going to be like winning ball. Like I already addressed this. Porzingis on paper, he's a guy, but he can't move.
Have you heard someone actually say that? Like that those 5
pump fake and go around, and Podziemski, I don't know like how much more we can say. The guy investing 35 minutes of this guy at small forward to take developmental minutes from Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga was a dereliction of duty, and it continues to be so. This team is just not appropriately evaluating talent, not appropriately understanding how 2022 is a million years away, and the game is completely different now. NBA basketball is completely different. It's gotten so much more complex. The motion offense that Steve Kerr runs is the most predictable offense in the league. Everybody knows it's coming. There's no rhyme or reason to allow your guards to offensive rebound. It's just layup line after layup line. It's an absolute joke. And
Yeah.
I don't. Lacob is selling tickets when he's saying that stuff. It's convincing people to keep spending their money. And
It's crazy.
frankly, the Porzingis thing, it's a total mirage. He didn't even play on the championship run against the Celtics. The Dallas Mavericks shipped him out. He got some numbers on the Washington Wizards on a tanking team. It's not like people just want feel good. They want the vibes. They want feel good stuff.
I don't know how this makes you feel good. I guess it's because Steph is still there, and it's just it's a nostalgia card. I like, to me, the most dreaded thing that the Warriors could have done is repeat what the San Francisco Giants baseball team did in the 2000s, when they wasted 3 years of everyone's lives who had an emotional investment in that team by milking Barry Bonds at the tail end of his career and that home run chase. Like, they gave two shits about investing in the team as a whole, because they knew people were just going to waste tickets or spend money, exorbitant amounts of money sometimes, to watch Barry Bonds hit home runs. Wins or losses be damned. And I feel like we're at the exact same point now, only instead of Barry Bonds, it's Stephen Curry, and watch him shoot 40-footers, right? Like, that's our draw. It's not the focus. There isn't a focus on winning here nearly as much as there is, like you say, a focus on the business side of it. And I hate to tell folks this, but every owner I have ever seen in professional sports who prioritizes their organization as a business above putting the goal of winning as the priority, it's never worked. It's always blown up in their faces. The moment you start focusing on the bottom line financially, the product suffers every time. I've never once seen an exception to that rule. So, this is very discouraging. And there's going to be a lot more quotes that we read from this story.
Yes, I love the way you put that, the business side. I mean, that's why they've kept Steve Kerr, even though it's more on ball that's led to injury ball. And it's honestly to sell tickets to a certain type of fans that need to feel comfortable. And he's the great translator. He's the great PR guy. He makes people feel good. And the system he runs didn't work in 2023. The game changed. And there's zero chance Steph Curry can stay healthy enough in a 3-4 guard system for 82 games and 4 rounds of playoffs as the number one guy. Like, they're under this delusion that if they actually get Giannis in the offseason, that's why he doesn't want to tank. That's why they don't want to trade. They don't want to just do the draft pick thing, because they think the Giannis thing can do it. But honestly, that's just giving hope too. Like, there's no way that just requires Steph Curry to be the man at 39 years old for 82 games. Like, that's where you have to zoom out, and you have to be smart. The guys in the chat that you highlighted, saying like tanking is not good. Like, fine, call it a rebuild, but basically every team that wins a championship nowadays builds through the draft. Like, you're not the Lakers. You're not just getting guys. You have to build through the draft, and you have to do it slowly and patiently. That's what it takes to win in the modern NBA, and it's damn fun. It's damn fun. That is so much fun to go through that as a fan. If you're a real fan, to draft a guy and to cheer their development on. Look how much fun Sharks fans are having right now, Si.
Yeah.
It is so much fun to be
look
a
how much
Sharks
fun
fan.
we had watching the Warriors. First was Steph, Clay, Dre, Harrison Barnes, Festus Ezeli. Like, that was a joy.
That's right.
Homegrown, organic.
This is like rooting for a team that keeps purposefully stabbing itself in the foot. Like, that's not fun, man. It's not fun. That's not fun. Like you're just having fun off watching memories of winning, memories of Steph Curry hitting 35 shots, like you said. They're selling a business. They're selling a nostalgia. I love the way you put that.
Yeah, thank you. And speaking of, I like what you said about the Warriors system not being that impressive, because it's a nice segue real quick to the soundbite I've been meaning to play for a few days now. This was Kristaps Porzingis following a practice, I believe. This was earlier this week, but the attribution to me was noteworthy because of his comments on the Warriors system and learning how the offense plays. Have you seen this, Armando?
Yeah.
Well, if you folks haven't, here was Porzingis again. This was earlier this week, a few days ago, talking about learning the Warriors offense. It's comedy.
I like the offense. I like the simplicity in a way. I like the freedom, and I think that's the hardest to guard because we don't even know what we're doing exactly, a lot of times, and it's just pretty, but you have to have the talent to do that.
Even we don't know what we're doing half the time. They're like it's an unorganized mess. It's borderline chaos. Again, without Stephen Curry on this team, the folks who think Steve Kerr's responsible, it's a laugh, man. It's pure comedy. Except that it kind of isn't. Switching gears for a second, going back to the tanking subject, I want to point out one more quote here. And this goes back to what you were saying about the fans, where Lacob said, quote, "Look, this season matters to the fans who bought tickets for this year. Hopefully, they'll be our fans next year as well. Obviously, I think you should always be trying to win and do the best you can." Lacob also added, quote, "And that's just not a way," referring to tanking, "and that's just not a way I would be comfortable ever trying to improve our team," unquote. And this is where I want to levy some criticism toward Tim Kawakami for a second, because Kawakami writes this quote, and I'll say it to you one more time. This is Joe Lacob in regards to the Warriors tanking. Quote, "And that's just not a way I would be comfortable ever trying to improve our team." And Kawakami acknowledges right after that quote in this story that he could have brought up the fact that Lacob did tank. And I've talked about this on the show repeatedly in terms of Mark Jackson's first year as head coach of the Golden State Warriors. They had, I believe, a top 7 protected pick. And the Warriors were dangerously in a precarious position to get the 8th pick. If they did not tank, they would have easily been 8th or higher, not had the draft pick at all. And that draft pick, they did tank, and it was effective. They got the number 7 pick. That became Harrison Barnes. Do not pretend for a second that was not paramount to a dynasty being built. But Kawakami brings that up. He writes, quote, "I could have pointed out that the Warriors did some extra effort losing at the end of the 2011-12 season to ensure keeping their protected first-round pick. But I didn't call Lacob on it because that was a long time ago, and it was very early in his ownership tenure," unquote. Why the F would you not bring it up? It's a blatant contradiction. It's a follow-up question that desperately needed to be asked. I think it's a piss-poor scapegoat excuse or it's a piss-poor excuse to scapegoat how long ago this was. This decision was fundamental for the development of a dynasty. And Kawakami thought, well, it was too long ago. It was early in Lacob's ownership. Like that matters? And this is why Kawakami is not just a blowhard, but he's also a mouthpiece for the Warriors, because if he was actually doing his job as a media professional, he would follow up and say, Joe, I know you just said you would never, ever tank. And again, Lacob emphasized ever, but you did it. And it resulted in the dynasty being formed. So again, I don't know if this was an attempt to protect Lacob, and maybe Lacob was protecting himself so that he doesn't draw scrutiny from the NBA, right? Because the NBA is going after all these tanking teams. But regardless, I'm like, just I just that did not pass the smell test. What did you think about all that?
Oh man, Cy, he literally just admitted what I'm saying. Like people think I make this stuff up. The owner literally just said, "We have to keep playing to sell tickets." You know, it's not just tank or try to win. There's three options. There's tank, there's try to actually win, and then there's selling tickets. They're selling hope. That's the era we're in, man. The Warriors, sorry, the Warriors are literally the worst team trying to win. Like the Clippers are going to pass them by. I probably think the Blazers will pass them by unless they stay hurt. But like everybody below them is literally tanking, and I really like it is a dereliction of duty. We have a chance to get a generational player in this year's draft. And so we were the cousins and us were talking about it. You know how Silver dropped that they're gonna change the tanking rules next year? So I think about this possibility. If they do that, the Warriors are effed. Because right now it's a tanking league, and the Warriors are refusing to do it.
Yeah, they're poor timing on their part.
And when they actually do suck ass in the next few years, when they actually have the worst record in the league in the next few years, the tanking rules. By the way,
Riz in our chat is asking a very genuine question. Whoops, not that. Right here, saying, Cy and Armando, realistically, do you see Steph winning another chip here or somewhere else?
Nowhere.
Oh my God, that is funny.
So let's move on with the Lacob interview. A couple other pieces here. Oh, a pay chat. Always like those. Thank you. This is from Brooklyn Opinion, $9.99. Saying, I never blame Kaminga. And thank you for the $9.99 donation. We continue on. Jonathan Kaminga is the reason we lost the last two games. These aren't screened, by the way, and I'm already starting to see where this is going. He does not pass the ball enough and does not fit. Once he is traded, we will win title. And Podziemski will prove he's the future.
I like this one. That's good.
He could side note a Brooklyn Opinion. Sincerely, thank you for the donation. Greatly appreciated. And B, I love the fact that he could not even finish that post before. He literally couldn't finish it. He's holding his laughter and writing that, and couldn't even complete the sentence properly. That's how comical this was. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And maybe this is a good segue, real fast, Armando, to talk about Draymond Green for a second. Who's been getting more and more scrutiny as of late. It's no secret that when Stephen Curry doesn't play, his value just diminishes tremendously. He's borderline worthless without Steph. I don't think many people have pretended otherwise. And it's on last night's show, Armando, I said to the audience, shut him down. Just shut him down. Like, what is the point of playing him right now? Shut his ass down, man. Let's see Malachi Leon's out there. Like, give Quentin Post some minutes. Shit. What, like, or you don't, I don't think you even need to do any of that. There's enough minutes there. You're playing enough guys already. There are enough minutes where you don't need to play Draymond Green. He got, he got defensive. He was on social media last night calling someone out, because someone pointed out one of his 5 3-point attempts that he missed. Dre was 0 of 5 from deep, 0 of 7 from the field, 0 points last night to go with 2 rebounds and 3 assists. It wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good night. Draymond traditionally suffers when Steph isn't around. Draymond himself took umbrage to this one social media post that highlighted one of the shots. His reply was, one shot out of many. And again, Dre, you went 0 for 7, man. There were a lot of shots and you missed all of them, literally. But with that said, he's being defensive. I don't see the point of him playing. All the rhetoric, I think, Armando, you were early in this in terms of Kaminga being scapegoated for Draymond more than anyone else, is coming to be more and more into fruition as reality. What would you do with Draymond, man? And what do you think that this situation holds? Because Steve Kerr, just to add one more piece of context here, Steve Kerr said today in an interview post-practice that he needs to do a better job of involving Draymond Green. I don't think that's the answer. What are your thoughts?
I think that Draymond is the real motherfucking G. Excuse my language. And he quit on this team in November, rightly so, when the coach inexplicably decided to bench Jonathan Kaminga and decided that they were no longer going to keep winning with Jonathan Kaminga because the coach would rather be right. And Draymond quit at that point, and he's been going through the motions ever since. He knows this is a loser-ass team with no hope. Why would he try to get hurt? Like Draymond, honestly, I would trade Draymond because he's the only player on this team with real value on a decent contract that's movable. Steph Curry has a ton of value, but he's making $70 million a year. That's extremely hard to trade. But Draymond has got real value in this league as a stopper, as a guy in the right situation for a winning squad. And why would he bust his ass for this loser ass team that is playing 3-4 guards? Like Will Richards is really the only. Will Richards and Guy Santos are the only guys that have NBA talent on there. Moses Moody too, and they're being played out of position. Will Richards is getting effed just like Podziemski is getting effed, being played as small forward. Like, it's an absolute travesty, and they're not developing the requisite skills and talent at the right positions. It's the same story. And why would Draymond do that? He's just getting left out to dry. Like, Draymond is supposed to be the defensive player of the year, covering up for 3 guards and 2 centers that cannot close out, that just get pump faked. Like, there's no way you can show your talent. Every week I come out here and I say, never evaluate a player on their own accord. You have to look at the lineups they're in. Who are they on the floor with? And Draymond Green is on the floor with lurch centers that cannot move and 3 guards. That's the situation Draymond Green is in. So put him around wings, put him around modern 2026 wings that can switch side, and you're talking about a different story. This team had Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kaminga, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, and they never played those players together once. They never even practiced it. So that is an absolute dereliction of duty. And to say that Draymond Green doesn't have it and without even seeing if that lineup would work, just on a hunch, effed. What a loser system, loser coach, loser team.
How do you really feel, bud?
It's true. They are. They know it too. They're just selling tickets.
Do you want to hear from Stephen Curry, who spoke today to NBC Sports Bay Area?
Yeah. Do it.
This was him talking with Dalton Johnson. I'm guessing he was walking either to or from practice. I don't know what the setting is here, to be honest, but he spoke to the local Warriors television affiliate, and here's what he had to say about his knee.
I'd be remiss not to ask just how the knee's feeling and just how you're dealing with this process right now.
Feeling good. I mean, it's not going the way that I wanted it to, but I think we're in the right direction of trying to get back out there as fast as possible. The goal is to be healthy come playoff time and, be available when it matters most. Obviously, I'd love to be playing right now. And if you're healthy, you're able to play. Just I'm headed in the right direction, and hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Yeah, the more I think about it, Cy, I'm telling you, he's going to come back with 10 games left, and they're going to make a playoff push. The idea is, look, hopefully Porzingis can show us something, and I'll come back with 10 games left. We'll try to get some run in, and I'll be fresh for the playoffs, and hopefully we could just win some games in the playoffs, and it'll be fun. That's fine. That might happen. Maybe they'll win a few games. It's all good, but they're not winning a championship. They're not doing that thing. It's just, this is what it always was. Let's give the Steph Curry, Steve Kerr vibe era a shot to play quote unquote meaningful basketball. That's what they're doing. They're going to do it. He's going to come back with 10 games left. I truly believe that.
I was muted there. And that's a huge reason why I give the Warriors a 1% chance of making real noise in the postseason, because even at 38 years old, I'm going to give Steph a 1% shot. Like, he's Stephen Curry, and you never know. Crazier shit's happened. But I also feel very comfortable giving them just 1%. Yeah.
Steph is absolutely good enough to win 2 playoff games on his own. You know, and
At least,
I think Jimmy Butler was good enough to win 1 playoff game on their own. And they did that last year, and then they had a Buddy Hield, lottery, like act of God game by Buddy Hield to win the 4th game. And that was the story last year. And then they got hurt as a result. That was the only thing they got out of that was the 35 and 37-year-old playing 40 minutes a night for 7 games, and they got hurt as a result. Like, they have that opportunity to do it again, to win 2 games with Steph. He is that good to win in 2026 playoff games. He's that good. And they're going to do that. They're going to see they're just going to have fun doing that. And hopefully he doesn't tear an Achilles. Hopefully he doesn't go home in a body bag. Hopefully.
Let's hope. That's the hope. Agreed. Brooklyn Opinion dropping $1.99. Thank you, sir. A lot of paid donations saying, with Kaminga gone now, who are they going to blame? In other words, like, who are they going to scapegoat? Because apparently the last player who they want to scapegoat, even though oftentimes the blame maybe should be heading his direction, is Draymond Green. But Joe Lacob said in that interview that came out today that Draymond is pivotal, instrumental. I want to find the exact quote that he said about Draymond, and God damn it, I just had it here. I lost it. I'll summarize. I'll paraphrase. He basically said that trading Draymond Green is a near impossibility. Like, he substantiated what Mike Dunleavy Jr. said, that Draymond was never seriously in trade discussions, and I do agree with them to a large extent, in the sense that I don't think they were like pushing Draymond Green to the Bucks in whatever was going on with these negotiations with Milwaukee to try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. My strong guess is that they were trying to convince Milwaukee to take Jimmy Butler's contract, and they probably had a brief conversation with Draymond saying, "Look, you don't know how these things go. Maybe they'll ask specifically for you. We just want to give you a heads up just in case that happens." That's my read of how this went. And then Draymond went public because he's probably never heard in his life the Warriors front office or coaching staff tell him he's on the trading block, even though like it very likely was not going to happen. My guess is Jimmy Butler was the guy who was probably going to get moved if they would get to that point. Joe Lacob came out today, again, confirming what Mike Dunleavy Jr. said, which is, again, that they never were looking to trade Draymond. Even though Draymond himself came out publicly and said that. So in terms of who the scapegoat is now, I don't know. Something tells me they're just going to run out of them. I mean, maybe it'll be Al Horford one night. It'll be by committee.
They have the injury excuse. Steve Kerr got exactly what he wanted. He got.
Well, there you go. And
Jimmy Butler getting hurt is the best thing that ever happened to Steve Kerr. Like, he's got that in his back pocket. That's exactly what they were playing for. They got it. They play injury ball, like I said in August. They got it.
Coast to Coast, $9.99 donation, saying that the Warriors, they're all in together, kiss asses, beside only Steve Kerr, who thinks Steph at age 39 running around is the same player 5 or 10 years ago, quoting or putting in parentheses Jordan Poole, Ryan Rollins, Kaminga. They're gone because of Stevie Kerr and Draymond Green. Yeah, no disagreement there. I like the Draymond and Steph being complicit in all this is what's I would call shameful, or maybe not. Maybe shameful is the wrong way to put it. Disappointing. It's very disappointing that they have chosen to basically just go down this ship together. And and what bums me out is that if I feel strongly that if Steph and or to a lesser extent Dre, but particularly Steph, if they would just speak up more toward Kerr. Like, if they just go to Kerr and say, "Look, we don't like this shit," but they don't do that. They just listen to their head coach and do whatever he says, and the loyalty is there. Kerr has earned their trust. Case in point, this soundbite, this came from practice today. This is courtesy of clutch points, Kenzo Fukuda's clutch points more specifically. And Steve Kerr was asked about Draymond Green's recent struggles. And instead of criticism, instead of maybe talk about changes, Kerr just doubles down and shows loyalty to the longtime power forward, former defensive player of the year. Here is Steve Kerr from earlier today following Warriors practice. Oh, and real quick, turn the volume up on your devices because this is cell phone audio.
Okay, because since the trade deadline, he's been kind of harbor for him.
Yeah, I thought his approach last night was fantastic. I mean, it was a rough game for him, and he kept his spirits up. He was talking to guys on the bench, giving advice. I've talked about this occasionally this year, but how you approach, the latter stages of your career as a player is so important. And I think Draymond's approach and attitude during this time, especially without Steph, where a lot of our weaknesses are exposed, he's handling things with a lot of dignity, and it's not easy, especially when you have that kind of pride for being a great player. You have a night like that, it's tough, and so it's so important that he keeps his spirits up like he did last night, but that we help him and we help the team as a staff develop a better rhythm, and that's what we're trying to do collectively.
So Steve Kerr basically saying that Draymond Green needs more help. Armando, your thoughts?
He sounds like a college-educated guy that speaks in emotional, empathetic terms, and the media loves that shit. What he just said is absolutely meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything when you're on the court with 3-4 guards and there's no discernible offensive system that can win in 2026. It's an absolute joke. And nobody questions it because it just sounds nice. It sounds good. He's the great communicator. He's such a great guy. And it's just, what's the word, Si, when corporations, they pretend that they're like renewable energy green, and then they call it greenwashing. Like we need a term for Steve Kerr. Like he's like
Kerr washing.
It's Kerr washing.
And he does it a lot. He does it a lot.
Oh my god.
By the way, Joe, there's still two more primary parts of that interview with Joe Lacob I feel like we have to touch on. One is Kaminga, because he did speak about that, obviously, and he's been quiet about the Kaminga topic all the way up until this interview. And he brought up a couple things. Here, the first part, I believe this is the right quote, because he was asked, like, was it hard for him to trade Kaminga? The impression was he really liked him, and Joe Lacob's response was that it wasn't hard to trade him, saying, quote, everyone assumes a lot about that. Look, I liked him as a player. I like him as a person. And at times he showed a lot of potential for us, just never quite really worked entirely. And then added with this quote, and he got injured at inopportune times. I think we all knew we had to do something, but we weren't going to give him away either, because he is a talent, and a lot of people think that too. And this plays back to what I've been bringing up, which is that in the last, and look, I'm not using this as an excuse for the way he was treated, largely because whether or not durability was in the big picture a massive issue in regards to how Kerr looked at Kaminga, the durability thing was not a factor in years 2 or 3, right? So maybe in years 4 or 5, when Steve Kerr felt by his clock it was time to start playing Kaminga more, these injuries started to happen at these inopportune times. But he wasn't hurt in years 2 or 3, and he was ready to go in at that period of his playing career as well. With that said, injuries are brought up. Joe Lacob trying to downplay in this interview his feelings and thoughts on Kaminga, who's now no longer with the team. Did you take anything away from that? Did you read?
It's just PR media stuff, Si. Yeah. They have to they have to present a somewhat united front. I mean, even in that quote, you can see that he says a lot of people think he has talent.
Right.
It's hiding the enormous power struggle that's been going on this team since 2020. And the reason why Bob Myers left and Onzi left to the Hawks to go actually draft wings and play them together in Warriors East. And, you know, he knows there's elements in the front office that have wanted to play Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga together with the team's 3 best players, and the coach will not do it. And as a result, the GM has to trade and draft for guys that the coach is going to play. And it's led to small ball / injury ball. And it's covering that enormous power struggle. That owner literally leaked an email to the public criticizing the coach. And that was the same week that the team's second best player stormed off the court because the coach was not listening to him. That happened this year. And, you know, that's the real story that's been going on. That's the story that the media will not cover. That's the story that, you know, all the light years folks, the Kawakami folks, they do not want to talk about. That people they're just loving the Curry vibe ball, not what's really going on with this team.
Yeah, it's and again, it's now in the past. One final subject matter and more evidence that Kawakami he's just literally he works for the Warriors, man. I know he covers the night.
You know what's crazy, Sai, is like when it really becomes evident to the delusional fans that this shit is dead. You know, they're gonna, instead of saying, you know what, that guy was right like 2 years ago, they're gonna say they just got old.
Yeah,
they just got old. That's gonna be the excuse.
They've always got excuses. Yeah, they always have excuses. It's very unfortunate. But the topic of Steve Kerr is what, and the reason why I was expressed dismay at Kawakami is because he put what I think is maybe the most important part of this interview at the very end, which goes against what's typically taught in journalism practice. With that said, at the bottom of the story is the Steve Kerr topic, what his future holds. He's on a year-by-year basis with contracts. And Joe Lacob's messaging was very mixed here. Hard to get a read on how he feels. If what you interpret from this is Kerr is gone, I would understand it. If what you interpret from this is shit, Kerr's back another year, I also could understand that. And here is the quote. I'll read the whole thing. The screen will just highlight one part of it. But the quote goes like this in regards to Steve Kerr. Joe Lacob said, quote, "I think Steve has answered that question. There's nothing more I can say. He has said we're going to wait until after the season. That's 100% accurate. We've discussed it. No point in talking about it now. He's got a job to do. Let's just let people focus. I mean, why would you do that now? Let's just focus on the season. Really, it's up to him. What does he want to do? And he doesn't know, I don't think. So we'll have that discussion later." And then, and unquote. And then Kawakami followed up with, "Are you happy with the job Kerr's done this season?" And this is the part that I was a little dismayed at. Lacob said, quote, "I don't look at it in one season. I look at it, he's been our coach for 12 years. I think you can make the assumption that I think a lot of Steve Kerr. He's a great coach. He's been very successful. He's won us 4 championships, been to 6 finals. He is a great human being. I really, really, really respect him, admire him, but it depends what he wants to do and how he feels at the end of the season and where we're at. We'll take all of it, put it into a bowl, and figure it out. And I'm not really very worried about it, and I don't think he's very worried about it either." Unquote. Your thoughts?
Yeah, loser talk. Absolute grade A prime rib loser talk. That's what that is. Total dereliction of duty. This is the laziest coach in the league. they brought Jonathan Kaminga back over the summer. They gave this guy a roster. There was a championship roster on the court provided for them. The coach did not work on a single effing thing all summer. He just rolled out lineups. And when Steph Curry got hurt, he benched Jonathan Kaminga. And then in the media said he regressed. And then Jonathan Kaminga quiet quit. That's the story of this year. There's no getting around it. This guy, what you need in 2026 are young coaches that have something to prove and are going to do everything they can to be the best friend of any young talent and do what it takes to fit the system to the players. And, it is an absolute dereliction of duty the way this team has enabled this coach. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
The things that the particular sentences, if I'm going to read probably too much into this, that piqued my interest. One of them is, where is it? I mean, the whole focusing on 12 years thing, that is just ridiculous if he's being serious about that. But the part where he says he's got a job to do, let's just let people focus. Like what that tells me when I read that is, does that mean that Joe, like during an NBA season, never bothers Kerr? Like, meaning when all this drama is happening in the middle of the season, is Joe Lacob just sitting back? I mean, look, the hands-off approach, greatly appreciated. It's the complete opposite of micromanaging. Love it. Unless the managing is needed. And look, I know it's just one sentence and I'm probably reading too much into it, but if what he wrote is a pattern, if that's how he typically treats Steve Kerr, where he's just standing back and just letting him do whatever the hell he wants, that says a lot too. That means Joe is just not involved with all these crises that are going on. And maybe a big boy does need to step in. Step in, big boy. Be a big boy. Those are my thoughts on it. I don't know.
Yeah. So I would love to hear people from the chat that are optimistic about this season and where this franchise is going. I would love to hear somebody make the case why they think the team's going to do well, and what the coach has done so great over the last couple of years. I would love to hear it, because it seems like people think that I'm just like pulling shit out of my ass and just negative for negative's sake. If you're a true fan, you're critical of your team. That's how it is.
Agreed. And Armando, don't ever take the criticism personally. Again, I've gotten death threats, literal death threats. Like, I'm going to kill you. Some of it very specific. I'm going to be hiding in bushes waiting for you. I've gotten messages like that routinely, all because I criticize Steve Kerr. Fans get up in their feelings and then some. There are a lot of them that are straight up psychopathic, man. But Armando, you're not alone. Like Condor Turno, who was the last beat reporter covering this team, who had the audacity of questioning sometimes Steve Kerr's decisions. And he's a beat reporter, man. Like, he is a fantastic journalist his reporting was objective. And if fans didn't like it, man, he heard it too. He heard a lot of shit and it exhausted him. And when he transitioned from sports reporting to news reporting, now most of his stories are front page of the San Francisco Chronicle. Connor, you're doing a tremendous job out there, but no one replaced him. No one filled the shoes of having at least one person in that press pool who had the courage. And it's sad that apparently you need courage just to ask Steve Kerr tough questions every now and again. No one has stepped up. Anthony Slater is probably the closest thing to it, but we all know even he, like in terms of a personal bias, like Steve Kerr, we've shown examples of him framing stories in a manner that is pro Kerr with positive reinforcing messages based entirely on feelings, which is not what a reporter is supposed to do. So this is how the climate's been, man. It's an environment where if you're a Warriors fan and you decide you don't like what this head coach is doing, you're going to get some blowback, and it takes guts to criticize this man. And if there's any conclusion I've gotten over the years with all this Warriors coverage from the media perspective, is that, and this is why I routinely criticize my quote unquote colleagues in this industry: grow some balls, figuratively speaking, ladies, again, metaphorically speaking, but grow some goddamn cojones, man. Have the guts to do your job right. Ask the questions that need to be asked. We never get follow-ups. We never get questions like there's no accountability. If the press and the fans are not bringing accountability, there will be none for Steve Kerr, because ownership clearly loves him. Front office loves him. So if the fans aren't going to boo and or show their disdain by not buying tickets, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and if the media is entirely in his pocket, save for, just a few randos like myself, then you get more of the same. That's how this works. And this is why Armando and I have repeatedly come out and said, fans, like if you don't voice your gripes, if all you do is cheerlead for your team, if all you do is rah for your team, where is the impetus for them to change when things are going wrong? There is no impetus. You need impetus. You need and that is not a Freudian slip. You need accountability. That's the bottom line, man. It's sad that the 4 championships, the 6 finals, that again, the moment you pay attention to nuance, which Joe Lacob, I'm starting to wonder whether or not he does, because if you pay attention to the nuance, you see that the roster decisions are all, and Steph and Curry, starting with Steph, are almost entirely responsible for this dynasty. And he's sitting here just giving this coach a pass. It's crazy, man. Very disappointing. That's my skill. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, Cy, what did you think about my cousin Andres in the chat? Reminded me of Steve Kerr, that Kevin Durant said Steve Kerr never drew up a single play and they still won. What did you think about? I love that.
Where's the chat?
Kevin Durant's comments this past week. I loved it, man. Woo, boy. That was great.
By the way, real quick, Wordman in the chat saying they are reporters, not journalists. Same thing. Okay, if you're going to use the word journalist, that is a reporter. Like a person with the title reporter means you're reporting objective facts. That's what a journalist is supposed to do. The moment you start acting like a Tim Kawakami, now you're a columnist. Now you're an editorialist. Now your job is to write persuasive language designed to make people feel things, and you're writing for clicks. And if you're good at it, you're going to have people come back for more and more. But that's the reporter and journalist is the same thing. What time did your cousin write that? Just so I can highlight it. Do you know?
I don't know. He just said about recently, KD. But hey, special shout out to Wordman. I love that email you read last night from Wordman. Oh my God, that's like one of the best emails I've ever heard. Whenever I hear the Wordman phrase or handle, I always think of Kawhi Leonard when he said the boardman boards. Do you guys remember when Kawhi Leonard said that? I just think of Wordman words. I love that shit.
I read one of his emails the other night. It was very eloquent, man. Like anybody who writes like these long emails to me, I'm not going to just let that go. What I always tell these folks, at least on air, not always in replies, is like start a Substack, start your own platform. Don't let that work just evaporate, like give it a home, man. Let people like read your work because it's really good shit. It's good stuff. Anyways, I couldn't find your cousin. So what did your cousin say one more time? I want to address that.
Just that KD said Steve Kerr never drew any plays and they won championships. And he also said he's got a thing against people with darker skin. I loved KD's comments. I loved every single one of KD's comments.
What were your thoughts on the KD situation as a whole? Because you're right. He did call out Steve Kerr on more than one occasion. All it did to me was validate everything that's been reported recently regarding why KD left the Warriors, wanted nothing to do with the Warriors. It's Kerr. Has created this environment where Steph is on a pedestal, and if you're not kissing his feet, you're out. And that's batshit crazy to me, man. Like, we get it. Steph is a god. We get it. But he doesn't need that treatment. And that treatment is not going to translate to every teammate just buying in. That is some crazy stuff, man. I But what were your thoughts on the KD just in general? Just saying, because I thought even crazier than the Kerr comments was him criticizing his own teammates. That shit currently in the present day, talking about Jabari Smith and Alperen Şengün, I thought that was really wild because those guys are reading this stuff. You got to face them in the locker room. That's crazy, man. But what were your thoughts on the whole KD burner situation?
Sai, he's not wrong about Şengün. Like I literally thought that in that first round, me and my cousins, when we watched that, we thought Ime Udoka, and I said this over the summer, Sai, like they would have wiped the Warriors' ass if they hadn't played that double center lineup. All the stupid, delusional Warriors fans and the Warriors reporters thought, oh, the double center lineup is so good against Warriors. No, it wasn't. It was the thing holding them back. If they had just played Tari Eason and Amen Thompson and the wings, they would have wiped the floor with the Warriors. I remember that game that they actually did that, and Brandon Podziemski could not get the ball up the court. This was a regular season game, so they actually had to have Buddy Hield bring the ball up the court. Like, it was a total joke. And the only reason they lost is because they played Şengün so many minutes. He was getting all those points, but you play slow. Draymond Green literally in that first round series said, we don't mind if Şengün goes for it. We want Şengün to score 30 because that means those possessions are 2-pointers. Those possessions are deep in the shot clock. Those possessions are hard to set up. Those possessions just get him tired. Like that's just loser ball. And if they had actually played the wings that were sitting on that court, I remember when Tari Eason blocked the shit out of Jimmy Butler, and he looked at Jimmy Butler and he fucking laughed at him. And I just think Kevin Durant is so right about that shit. And because I'm a massive, massive Warriors fan, I loved what he said about Steve Kerr. Man, that was so on point. Ooh, boy, that was so good. That was so good. Loved it. You're muted, Si.
Muted. Thank you for that. Thank you. And as we've said before, every player who leaves this team, none of them are leaving saying good things about their head coach. None of them are saying anything. Like not one ex-player, to the best of my knowledge. If there's one that snuck through the cracks that I missed, please let me know. But everybody who leaves, they either just stay quiet about it, or they just eventually just can't hold it back anymore. Or in the case of Kevin Durant, he only felt comfortable writing it as "Get Off My Dickerson." Side note, a phenomenal handle. But yeah, Kevin Durant just throwing massive shade, no pun intended, to his former head coach Steve Kerr. Do you want to read one email before we go, Julian? Armando, do you want to read one email before we go? I'll leave it up to you.
Sure.
All right. Julian just wrote this, and that's why I accidentally called you that. And it's a long one, but let's get into it because Julian articulates himself very well. Usually joins the show when we're going live. So tonight we'll read your email.
Letters. We get letters. We get stacks and stacks of letters.
All right. Oh, we got to get some music for this. And I'll read the email as quick as I can. Armando, I'll let you take it away the moment I finish to hear your thoughts on it. Your opinion will represent the program as a whole. So this is, again, from Julian Bashir, joining us from the East Coast, writing, I know we've touched, or hi, Cyrus. I know we've touched on this before, but given the recent reporting around Jonathan Kaminga and the Warriors organization, I want to lay out what I believe was a deliberate 4-game sequence by Steve Kerr that quietly but effectively removed Kaminga from the team's long-term vision. When you follow the timeline closely and factor in context, absences, and coaching choices, the pattern becomes difficult to ignore. The Warriors opened the season 5-3. During that stretch, Kaminga was playing some of the best basketball of his career. First 8 games, he averaged 16.4 points per game, 7 rebounds a game, 3.1 assists per game. He shot 53.4% from the field, 41.7% from 3, 84.4% from the line. He was the 3rd leading scorer, the leading rebounder, and statistically the most efficient offensive player among the main minute getters by true shooting percentage, more efficient than Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Brandon Podziemski. Yet those 3 losses during the 5-3 start weren't random. They coincided with Kerr repeatedly waffling between two starting lineups, one with Podziemski starting at the 2 and Draymond at center, another with Quentin Post at center and Butler at the 2. The team started 2-0, beating the Lakers and Nuggets with Podziemski at the 2. Kerr then inexplicably inserted Quentin Post against a fast, athletic Portland team that didn't even feature a dominant center. The Warriors lost by 20. They reverted back and won against Memphis, then switched again against the Clippers, where Post actually made sense due to Ivica Zubac and played well in a strong defensive win. Despite that success, Kerr immediately pivoted again, leading into 2 embarrassing losses, including a loss to Milwaukee without Giannis, where Ryan Rollins scored 32, and a loss to Indiana that became the Pacers' first win of the season. I'm sorry, do you want to stop for a second?
No, keep going. I'm agreeing so much.
Great. This is great. Yeah, the great email. We'll continue here. The common thread was inconsistency, not talent. Lineups changed even after good performances, and roles were never stabilized. At the same time, reporting later confirmed what was visible on the court. The offense is only practiced to flow through Curry and Butler. Second units and contingency lineups operate without clear hierarchy or emphasis. That matters when your most efficient scorer and best rebounder is neither Curry nor Butler, but Kaminga. Despite that, turnovers became the early narrative around Kaminga. He averaged 2.6 per game, fewer than Stephen Curry, who was averaging 2.9, and Draymond, who was averaging 2.8. Yet the scrutiny landed disproportionately on Kaminga. That's the backdrop to the 4-game Steve Kerr sabotage of Kaminga. And those 4 games, game 1 was that Sacramento game. Steph was out sick. Jimmy and Draymond were also unavailable. Kaminga was suddenly thrust into a de facto lead role, but without preparation, structure, or instruction to play through him. He still finished with 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists on solid efficiency, but with 5 turnovers. That number stood out, but context matters. Podziemski that same game had 4 turnovers. Moses Moody that same game had 3 turnovers. Most importantly, the entire starting lineup finished positive in plus minus. The game unraveled when Kerr went to the bench. Pat Spencer, Buddy Hield, and GP2 were all deeply negative in net rating. Al Horford played 27 minutes that game, went scoreless, and missed every shot. Yet post-game, Horford's performance was framed positively, while Kaminga's inefficiently quietly became the takeaway. The Kings clearly schemed to load up on Kaminga, which opened scoring for teammates. Without structure or practice reps as a primary option, turnovers were predictable. That was the first domino. Not to mention, it was Russell Westbrook's first triple-double and season high then and since, with 16 rebounds. I wonder who was guarding him. Rhetorical question. We're almost there. We're getting there. Game 2 was against the Denver Nuggets. Kaminga's minutes dropped from 36 to 27 despite no foul trouble. Kaminga went 3 for 10 with 2 turnovers. The exact stat line also with Brandon Podziemski. So both Podziemski and Kaminga went 3 for 10 that game from the field with 2 turnovers. The difference was framing. Kaminga's night was treated as confirmation of a problem. Meanwhile, the context was ignored. This was a road game in Denver. The Nuggets were fully healthy. Jokic, Murray, and Gordon were all active. This was a revenge game against the Warriors for that loss earlier in the season. The entire starting lineup for the Warriors finished negative in net rating. Jimmy Butler had the worst net rating on the team that night at minus 20, yet the narrative and the pressure that comes with it continued to shift toward Kaminga. The third game was the Pacers. Still no Stephen Curry. Steph didn't play in that Nuggets game either. Kerr reduced Kaminga's minutes again, this time to 20. This was against a struggling Pacers team at home, a game the Warriors were expected to win regardless. Kaminga went 1 for 9, but still grabbed 8 rebounds and finished in the positive in net rating at +2. The team won comfortably, so reducing Kaminga's minutes to make him look like the Warriors won because he played less became a planted seed. By this point, the message was clear. Kaminga was no longer being treated as a core piece, but as a replaceable rotation player, despite still being the team's most efficient scorer and best rebounder. Meanwhile, Porzingis logged over 30 minutes again. And the fourth and final game, OKC. Stephen Curry comes back. This was the final move. On the road against an 11-1 defending champion Thunder team, one of the fastest and most athletic groups in the league, Stephen Curry returned from illness. Kaminga played 24 minutes this game, led the team in scoring, and went 6 for 9 from the field, but again had 5 turnovers. Steph was 4 of 13 from the field. The Warriors lost, and this 4-game sequence concluded with the team sitting at 6-6 after starting 5-3. Immediately after, Kaminga was removed from the starting lineup and never returned. Conclusion? What followed were 2 emotional wins against San Antonio, massive scoring nights from Steph, standout defensive performances from Draymond, and the declaration that the Warriors had, quote, found themselves, unquote. The implication was clear. The problem had been Kaminga. Yet the irony is impossible to miss. All season, fans debated the need for a third scorer, a wing defender, rebounding, efficient offense. All traits Kaminga had already shown, not just in this season's first 8 games, but across multiple years and extended stretches. The conclusion is hard to escape. Kerr never wanted Kaminga as a featured starter. He wanted him as an energy plug, a secondary piece, interchangeable with role players. The 4-game sequence wasn't accidental. It was narrative construction through minutes, matchups, and context. That's the timeline, and once you see it laid out, it becomes very difficult to unsee. Thanks for everything, Julian. Your thoughts, Armando?
Man, I got to give Julian so much credit. Because he actually shows up here with his real name and he puts his face on it. He's not an anonymous troll. He actually shows up and stands on his team. Secondly, and actually, so I want to put it out there, I'm not engaging with anybody that is just an anonymous face on there, man. Like that, to me, might as well just be a Russian bot. Secondly,
or
Julian,
or a family member of Steve Kerr's.
You
never know, man. You never know. Maybe Porzingis, somebody like there's a lot of murders out there. That's all I'll say.
The other thing about Julian is the productivity, man. This guy will give you the real statistics and the real numbers that the media doesn't want to highlight. He will do his research and he brings it every night. I'm such in awe of Julian Bashir, Deep Space Nine, the excellent commentator. And so, I had talked about the way this season was going to unfold, and people have the goldfish memory. And what I love about Julian is he tries to correct that. And so that's why I'm so appreciative of it. Like, the only thing I would add to that whole narrative is the Chicago Bulls game on December 7th. And it was before the midseason tournament when they had about 5 days off or something like that. That was the game where Jonathan Kaminga didn't play. And they beat the lowly Chicago Bulls handedly. And this is after losing to the Bucks, the Bucks without Giannis, the Indiana Pacers. They lost to the Phoenix Suns when everybody thought they were bad. They lost to the Heat. They lost to the Blazers when everybody thought they were bad. They lost to the Kings. They lost to the Kings on November 5th. At full strength. And they beat the Bulls. And Steve Kerr goes on a media tour for 4 straight days. 95-7 the game. Tim Kawakami. Tim Kawakami goes on 95-7 the game. And it's all about, don't the Warriors just look like they're supposed to look? Don't they just look better? The flow is just so much better. They did a 4-day media tour because they beat the Chicago Bulls. And I know why he did it.
And wasn't that right after they lost to the lost to I'm pretty sure that followed a really brutal loss too. That Bulls game.
It followed the win at the Chicago Bulls, but that was right after
before the Bulls game. It was before whoever they played before that Bulls. I can look it up. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. They lost. They had just beat the Cavs, the Bulls, and they had lost to the 76ers, the Thunder.
Right.
That.
Right. That Philly game was brutal. The one they lost. I remember. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
So, but I know why they did that, and I called it out. I called it out in August, and I said it right then. It's because they knew at the end of December and the beginning of July was the softest part of the schedule all year long.
Yeah,
they were gonna win games. And as Draymond Green said, before the All-Star break is the dog days. Nobody in the NBA is trying. But the Warriors were trying. And the reason why the Warriors have great defensive numbers and the reason why the Warriors are above 500 is because they were playing playoff mode in the dog days at the end of December and during July, when every other team in the league was chilling and not playing hard at all. The only games they win are against purposefully tanking teams like the Memphis Grizzlies or injured teams. It's easy to see they're not beating anybody that they should beat ever. And or anybody that they ought to, that is competitive, that is actually a competitive team. They're not beating them ever. They haven't in 2 years. They're only beating tanking teams and injured teams. And that's what they're selling you. They set these narratives up over the course of the year. The only reason why JK was given the opportunity at the beginning of the year, and he's an amazing player, Jonathan Kaminga has played long stretches, 30-plus games as a role player, winning games with this team, helping them get to the 6th seed. The only reason why he was given that opportunity at the beginning is because Steve Kerr had to promise it in July.
Exactly.
And everybody knew that he was going to not go away with it. That's why Jonathan Kaminga and his camp knew they were going to have to sit out games, which forced them to trade. And Aaron Turner is the effing man. He got Jonathan Kaminga off this dying shit show. That he did it. And I have no doubt Jimmy Butler encouraged him to do it. And he got off of it, and he is in a much better situation. This team, this management is a dereliction of duty. Do not hitch your star to this wagon.
Well said. Julian, great email. And I'll espouse the same advice to you as everyone else who writes these incredible, eloquently written pieces. Publish that shit. Let other people see your words, please. Substack is free. Medium is free. They're super user-friendly in terms of publishing content. Well written, well said. And Armando, props to you for another great show. We do this every Friday. It's called Happy Hour. One more time, people can follow you on Threads at Mando_man10. They can follow you on Twitter at Armando Lara M as in Mary. And they can follow me at someone way earlier asked what my Instagram handle was. Instagram and Threads, same handle, 7 letters, dog wild, 2 words put together. You can follow me on Twitter at Surf Journalist, the program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. There is some great basketball going on, although my TV just froze. The Lakers and the Clippers are playing. And I also have I didn't put money on this, but I was riveted by the fact that the bookies gave the Thunder a 16-point buffer. The Thunder were favored by 16 points tonight. They're hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Normally you'd think, all right, OKC defending champs, Brooklyn tanking awful team. That spread makes sense. But the Thunder are missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, arguably their 2 best players. And so people were looking at that line going, wow, 16 for a Thunder team missing arguably their 2 best players. And I'm monitoring that game right now because there's 2:03 left in the 4th quarter. Friendly reminder, the bookies are geniuses. The Thunder lead right now 100-83 with 2:03 remaining. Other scores real fast. The Nuggets lead the Trailblazers currently 36-24. That's good news. If you want the Warriors to finish with a good record, if you want the Warriors to tank so they have better draft positioning, then that's bad news for you. And then the Lakers and the Clippers, and that's the game on my TV that just froze. I don't know what's going on there. 26-21, the Lakers lead that one. 2:55 left in the 1st quarter. Armando, let's leave on this note. I'm starting to pay attention to the the prospects that might be joining the NBA next season. And everyone's talking about these 4 players at the top of the list. I think you've said previously that these 4 are comparable to Cooper Flagg in terms of talent and immediate impact. I don't know if I'm there with you. Now that I'm starting to do some research, I don't know if they're quite Cooper Flagg level in the sense that it's like or Victor Wembanyama, that like a guaranteed, like generational franchise shifting type player. They might be, but I'm not saying they're bad. Like I get slightly more like 2022 vibes from this draft, where your first pick could be a Cade Cunningham, who is now turning into an MVP caliber player. That's what I see a little more of, where like your top pick, for example, one of the 4 guys is this guy from Kansas. What's his name? Darren Peterson.
Yep.
I don't want him.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with him. Like the guy has 11 of the team's 26 games this year with random excuses like cramping. He's taken himself out of games routinely. When he plays, he's phenomenal. And every scouting report indicates he's going to give you 20 points or more a game, a night, easily, his rookie year, right off the bat. But that type of behavior, like just, not willingly going all out every game, like there's 2 players in recent history that were high draft picks who similarly pulled those kinds of stunts where they just, for whatever reason, they'd find excuses to not play. They wanted to maybe preserve their body for the NBA. Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz. And we all saw how those 2 went. I'm not saying Darren Peterson's going to turn into that, but what I am saying is he's perfect for the Sacramento Kings. The other 3 so far are amazing. I like the guy, the kid in BYU. Like I'm leaning strongly toward him being a cornerstone for your franchise, man. Somebody the Warriors could desperately need. Not immediately. I don't know how well he's going to do in year 1, but AJ DeBonce, is that his name? I don't even have the names dialed yet. Those are the 2 that I've looked at so far. I know there's 2 more. What can you tell us about these top 4 and anyone else coming out for the draft this summer?
Just to add to your case about Peterson, which I totally disagree, which is good.
Okay.
But you should throw in Kyrie Irving into your thing, because Kyrie Irving totally sat out his year in college. And the only reason he's ever been good is because he played next to LeBron for that year.
Yeah, I don't want Kyrie either then. So you're making me look better.
I'm giving you evidence. I'm giving you evidence for your case. Me and the cousins, we have a very, very low opinion of college basketball. It is not the same sport, and only certain kind of players should be playing in it. And the only reason why guys of NBA talent that are in it is because of a little political rule. And, you should not be getting hurt playing college ball. And anybody who's actually trying to play 110% in college, that's actually a red flag for us. That means that when you go to the NBA, you're not going to be able to take it up a notch. And it's kind of like watching Brandon Podziemski play 110% during the regular season just to stay on the court, which is why I knew that last playoffs he was not going to be able to hit any shots. The only reason why Brandon Podziemski had a decent field goal percentage in last playoffs was because of 2 games when the Houston Rockets and Minnesota were not trying at all. Otherwise, he shot like 10%. The legs aren't there, and yet they still committed to him this year. That's an aside. The thing about Peterson, dude, enormous wingspan, step back ability. He has a 3-point shot on par with some of the greatest shooters of all time. That guy can throw it down. The athleticism is off the charts. And the things that he needs to work on, which are like pick and roll feel, he picks up his dribble on the roll man to make a pass, which it's all stuff you can clear up. He's 19. That's just feel for the game. That guy is a generational talent in the making. And I heard what you said about Cooper Flagg and Wembanyama. Maybe he's not that good. Frankly, Cy, we don't know if Cooper Flagg is a generational talent.
You don't?
We don't know yet. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that when I look at his game this year, it's just the 3-point. Everyone's assuming that 3-point shot is going to come along. I hope it does. And if it does, then he is a generational talent. Wembanyama, let's see the longevity. Like, injuries are part of being 7'2" plus. No NBA player has really been able to stay on the court that tall for playing 35 minutes a game as a number one guy. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. We'll see. But
Rudy Gobert is like one of the rare exceptions, right? And that's
really he's not a number one guy.
Yeah.
Not a number one guy. Like, so the BYU kid is just an elite scorer. I think that's a can't miss. The guy that I'm looking at is Caleb Wilson. Like, I don't see why that guy cannot be as good as Cooper Flagg. That guy is absolutely massive. I'm talking like 6'10". He might have like a 7'2", 7'4" wingspan. This guy has a mid-range jumper like Kawhi Leonard. Like, he literally looks like Kevin Durant rising up on there. They post him up like an NBA player in college games. Like, the talent level is off the chart, and this guy is smooth as butter. And it is an absolute dereliction of duty that the Warriors are selling you first round playoff exits as if it's some kind of win when this is what's on the table. Like, don't get it twisted, man. These kids can play.
Who does Caleb Wilson play for?
He plays for the North Carolina.
And then who's the fourth dude? Is it Boozer?
Yeah, Boozer.
And what's his name?
A lot of people are hyped on Boozer, and me and cousin Andres are split on him. This is all TBD, so I don't want anybody to take what I have set in stone. We're so fucking optimistic and excited about these guys. Like, this is why you're an NBA fan. This is why you're an NBA fan. It's because of players like this and the ability to scout them and watch them. It's so effing fun. But Boozer, he's got power, and he has like elite like old man game. Like, he actually reminds us a little bit of the way Jimmy Butler scores, like angles. He can actually get an edge around his guy and do the Podziemski slow down thing with elite size, and he's able to score over taller players. The only thing that concerns me is his size at power forward. He kind of reminds me.
Yeah.
He's pretty short, and he doesn't have enormous height jumps. I do personally wonder if he's a little bit fat right now, and he's
listed as at 6'9", 250.
Yeah, he's.
But you're saying he's too short, like for center, or
like power forward. I think he's shorter than that size.
Okay, so you're saying so maybe that, because you don't get those official NBA measurements until they reach the combine. So. Yeah. So what you're saying, because again, I'm not the expert here. I barely watch these guys, but Cam Boozer, is that Carlos's kid?
I would assume so. And
better hair.
Check, but if it is, like, you can't be better than your dad, right? And his dad wasn't that good. So, like, isn't that kind of like
Carlos was all right? Yeah.
Nah. And the thing about Boozer that I saw is him getting having a little trouble guarding bigger players, like guys kind of jumping over him down low. And I still need to see more on that. Like, the other thing about his size is the wingspan. Like, you can't have T-Rex arms in the NBA. Like, no. Draymond was 6'6" with elite wingspan and strength, and so he's a Hall of Famer. So I'm a little worried about that, but jury's still out. We got to see more.
All right, so if I'm reading this correctly from very early impressions, and again, we're going to bring a lot of experts on the college game and scouting and drafting on the show, and I'm really excited for that because it's been a while since, if you cover the Warriors, it's been a minute since the draft has actually been a thing of interest. So if I'm reading this correctly, AJ DeBonce, either him or the North Carolina kid, whose name I already forgot, Caleb Wilson. Those are your top two picks. And then, I don't know, unless, but, and again, this is how I'm rolling, because Darren Peterson, I have zero pushback. Darren Peterson, I have zero pushback on what you say about his skill set. Again, the no-shows, I don't know. We can agree to disagree on going all out in the college game.
I love the no-shows. I love that Jonathan Kaminga didn't even fucking waste his time with the stupid ass college when they weren't paying you. He's like, pay me the money, man. And then Jonathan Kaminga played one game for the Ignite, and he looked great. And then he just phoned it in for the rest of the season. I was like, yes, that's the guy. That's the future, man. That's the guy. When you're phoning it in, I mean, that tells you like, okay, yes, good, yes.
Well, we could agree because Cooper Flagg went all out his 1 year at Duke, and again, but I also think Cooper Flagg is going to be a generational talent. I really do. And again, we'll find out. There's only one way we're gonna find out which one of us is right and wrong, and that's by letting this play out. It's the beauty of hoops. But so me personally, I would put Darren Peterson maybe fourth just because of that, just because of the no shows. No dispute on the talent, man. Everything I've seen and heard is he's special, but those no-shows scare me a little bit, and especially when you added Kyrie Irving to the list of players who've done that. Another flag. With that said, that's just me. And then Boozer looks like so. If I'm reading this correctly from very early impressions, what I'm saying means absolutely nothing. We're just shit talking here, spitballing. DeBonce, Caleb 1-2. Peterson, Boozer 3-4. Either way, if you get any of them, you're excited because you've got a real effing talent on your team, and that's why you tank. Because you're.
I would love to talk about it, but it's not just the top four. There's like a good 10, 12 players in this draft. Like it's legit, man. It's legit.
And Simon too saying there's no way Peterson falls out of the top three, which is again, I'm gonna guess that's going to be a debate in some draft rooms, like whether or not
he kind of reminds me of a stronger, longer, more athletic Gilbert Arenas.
Interesting.
I can't quite figure out the comp with some of these guys. Like even Caleb Wilson, the comp's not Durant. Like there's another comp. Like we're still trying to figure it out. And I hate the Paul George comp. Everybody gets comp to Paul George, so like it's got to be more complicated than that. Like I don't know quite what it is. We're still working on it. We need to see more tape, man.
But like Paul George getting a massive pass from media scrutiny because that suspension reeked of something more than what was discussed, right? And I think Paul George said the reason for the 25-game suspension was medicine pertaining to mental health. And again, I'm just basing this off what I heard from inside the NBA, like Chuck and Kenny were talking about it, and what they were saying as former players, and so is Shaquille O'Neal, is if the medicine is not performance enhancing, they're not going to ban you for it. And you have this, and every player has this massive a list of what they can't put in their body, and they go through a whole class where they're caught up on what can get you banned and what's restricted. My point is, man, for a guy who's been injury prone, trying to come back and regain his form, it doesn't. Something seems off there in terms of like mental health medication triggering a 25-game suspension. That's what Paul George said, and we never got a follow-up. So congrats to Paul George, man. Like you had nobody looking into this to discover whether or not you were juicing. You were taking the juice, huh? Because look, I mean, sometimes that juice, you like it, the juice.
The juice, huh? Juice is very good, huh? We like the juice. Juice is good. Very good.
So good. It's so good. I mean, the juice. Sometimes you need. Yeah.
When that Paul George came out, we had a comment. You know who probably got saved by that? Porzingis.
Maybe.
Unless
POTS.
Yeah. Porzingis is in a contract year. He's got to show something. He is this close to being out the league. Like if he gets retained, it'll be on a freaking vet minimum contract with the Warriors for 1+1. Like I'm not going to accuse anyone, but man, I bet you he took notice of that Paul George situation, because it is do or die for the man right now.
And look, man, this is why another reason why I still give the Warriors 1%, because who knows? Steph, this is not an attack on Steph. This is me just trying to have some fun, but you never know. Steph could be like, look, man, this is my last shot. Doc, I'm thinking of that Lawrence Taylor speech from Any Given Sunday. Come on, Doc. This is my last shot.
Did the Warriors crack the code like the 49ers and figure out that the leagues don't test certain players that look a certain way for steroids?
You like the juice, huh?
The juice is very good. The juice is very good.
What a effing joke, man.
All right. A great show as always, Armando. Promote away. What do you have going on? You got a podcast. You got a Substack. Promote away, please.
Last week we had me and brother Evan, or Evan the friend. We discussed for an hour and a half the state of the Golden State Warriors at the All-Star break. We had a long discussion. It was great. We had 75 comments and 75 watchers. The perfect echo chamber. It was awesome. We only got, it was perfect. Loved it. Everybody on there showed up. Wordman, KKS, Money.
Oh, wow.
Larry Hoods, Cemetery Larry.
I like it. Yeah.
We had a good time. Many others.
Tell Evan, by the way, he's always welcome to come back with you. Evan, if you're watching this, you are welcome on this show, man. Don't think that the only place you have a voice is Sprewell Was Right. You've earned a place here, no doubt. Incredible talent, man.
This week, so cousin Andres has been watching a lot of Hawks games. Right now I'm gonna go to cousin Javier's house to watch the Hawks game tonight.
Nice.
And we're going to be previewing where we think things are going to fit in. And boy, are we excited. Ooh, boy, we're excited. So we'll be doing that with cousin Andres soon. Fun. So the 58 can join us. All good, man. Love you guys.
I love you, brother. And again, every Friday, Armando Lara joins us for happy hour because it's Friday. Fridays should make you happy. Go out there and have some fun. Armando, love you, brother. Thank you. Thanks to everybody. We're back at this Sunday. Ryan Leong's going to join me in the post game. Warriors and Nuggets. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.